So prayed they innocent, and to their thoughts firm peace recovered soon, in wonted calm. On to their morning's rural work they haste, among sweet dews and flowers, where any row of fruit trees over woody reach too far their pampered boughs, and needed hands to check fruitless embraces. Or they led the vine to wed her elm, she, spoused, about him twines her marriageable arms, and with him brings her dower, the adopted clusters to adorn his barren leaves. Them thus employed beheld with pity heaven's high king, and to him called Raphael, the sociable spirit, that deigned to travel with Tobias, and secured his marriage with the 7 times wedded maid. Raphael, said he, thou hearest what stir on earth Satan, from hell scaped through the darksome gulf, hath raised in paradise, and how disturbed this night the human pair, how he designs in them at once to ruin all mankind. Go therefore, half this day as friend with friend converse with Adam, in what bower or shade thou findest him, from the heat of noon retired, to respite his day labour with repast, or with repose, and such discourse bring on as may advise him of his happy state, happiness in his power left free to will, left to his own free will, his will, though free, yet mutable. Whence warn him to beware he swerve not, too secure, tell him withal his danger, and from whom, what enemy, late fallen himself from heaven, is plotting now the fall of others from like state of bliss. By violence? No, for that shall be withstood, but by deceit and lies. This let him know, lest, wilfully transgressing, he pretend surprisal, unadmonished, unforewarned. So spake the Eternal Father, and fulfilled all justice, nor delayed the winged saint after his charge received, but from among 1,000 celestial ardours, where he stood veiled with his gorgeous wings, upspringing light flew through the midst of heaven. The angelic choirs, on each hand parting, to his speed gave way through all the empyreal road, till at the gate of heaven arrived. The gate self opened wide on golden hinges turning, as by work divine the sovereign architect had framed. From hence no cloud, or to obstruct his sight, star interposed, however small he sees, not unconformed to other shining globes, earth in the garden of God, with cedars crowned above all hills. As when by night the glass of Galileo, less assured, observes imagined lands and regions in the moon, or Pilate from amidst the Cyclades, Delos or Samos, first appearing, kens a cloudy spot. Down thither prone in flight he speeds, and through the vast ethereal sky sails between worlds and worlds, with steady wing now on the polar winds, then with quick fan winnows the buxom air, till within soar of towering eagles, to all the fowls he seems a phoenix, gazed by all as that sole bird, when to enshrine his relics in the sun's bright temple, to Egyptian Thebes he flies. At once on the eastern cliff of paradise he lights, and to his proper shape returns a seraph winged. 6 wings he wore, to shade his lineaments divine. The pair that clad each shoulder broad came mantling o'er his breast with regal ornament. The middle pair girt like a starry zone his waist, and round skirted his loins and thighs with downy gold and colours dipped in heaven. The third his feet, shadowed from either heel with feathered mail, sky-tinctured grain. Like Maya's son he stood, and shook his plumes, that heavenly fragrance filled the circuit wide. Straight knew him all the bands of angels under watch, and to his state, and to his message high in honor rise. For on some message high they guessed him bound. Their glittering tents he passed, and now is come into the blissful field, through groves of myrrh and flowering odors, cassia, nard, and balm, a wilderness of sweets, for nature here wantoned as in her prime, and played at will her virgin fancies pouring forth from more sweet, wild above rule or art, enormous bliss. Him through the spicy forest onward come, Adam discerned, as in the door he sat of his cool bower, while now the mounted sun shot down direct his fervid rays to warm earth's inmost womb, more warmth than Adam needs. And Eve within, due at her hour prepared for dinner savory fruits, of taste to please true appetite, and not disrelished thirst of nectarous draughts between, from milky stream, berry, or grape, to whom thus Adam called, Haste hither, Eve, and worth thy sight behold eastward among those trees, what glorious shape comes this way moving, seems another morn risen on mid-noon. Some great behest from heaven to us perhaps he brings, and will vouchsafe this day to be our guest. But go with speed, and, what thy stores contain, bring forth, in poor abundance, fit to honor and receive our heavenly stranger. Well we may afford our givers their own gifts, and large bestow from large bestowed, where nature multiplies her fertile growth, and by disburthening grows more fruitful, which instructs us not to spare.